getting all set up here for Shannon Abdollmohammadi from Woodinville, who is going to do, give me the first word, Chipotle?
Chipotle.
Chipotle, okay. Sweet potato and spiced apple puree. That sounds really,
Yes.
that's for any holiday at all. That kind of like Halloween would be perfect.
Actually, any time of the year.
Yeah, really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, let's cook.
Sure. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our apples prepped, and we're just going to peel either 2 large or 3 medium tart apples.
Okay.
Our lovely local Granny Smiths.
Yes, that's
Yum.
my favorite. Absolutely.
And they cook up so nicely.
They do.
So is this a recipe that you made up yourself, Shannon?
I did. I actually won first place in a cooking contest because I adapted a really full-fat, heavy sugar, a lot of fat version, and I trimmed down the fat and the sugar, and I submitted it, and they liked it, and I won first place.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So see, folks, you're going to want to have this recipe, get the DVD.
So after they're peeled and cored, we're just going to cut them into quarters. Add them into a mixing bowl. Oops. In fact, it's so good for you that a 3/4 cup serving only has 224 calories in it.
All right.
And it's all good for you stuff. It's
Absolutely.
apples and sweet potatoes, which have all kinds of antioxidants. Yum.
Okay, so to this bowl, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of lemon juice, and this does 2 things. It brightens it by adding some fresh tartness to it, and it also saves the apples from turning brown when they're baking.
Okay.
So a 1/4 cup of apple juice, and we're going to do a 1/4 cup of honey.
Now that's slick.
That is really
Yes, I can't live without this. So it's like peanut butter and
pre-measured in
things.
this, and you just
Very nice.
plunge it, and boom, it's in there. That's
And 2 tablespoons of melted butter. You could substitute olive oil if you'd like. Thank you, George. And then we're going to add about a 1/2 teaspoon of salt.
Any particular kind?
I always like sea salt, but plain salt will work. And then the magic ingredient is a 1/4 teaspoon of Chinese 5-spice powder.
Oh, this is going to be really interesting.
Yes. And what Chinese 5-spice powder is, it's a blend of 5 spices. There's anise, star anise, cardamom, cloves, and cinnamon, and it's widely used in Asian cuisine in both sweet and savory dishes.
Yes. And there are a number of different recipes for that, so try a few and see which ones you like.
It's a really strong spice, so that's why you only see me use a 1/4 teaspoon, because a little goes a long ways.
If
But it
only
has
you
a
could
wonderful
smell this.
aroma to it.
It does,
I mean,
doesn't it?
perfect. Yeah, not strong.
It
or
is. It's a great mixture.
repulsive at all.
So we're just going to
Wonderful.
toss it around, and then we're going to spray a baking dish.
Yeah.
Going to add the apples in,
Okay.
juice and all.
Yep.
And we're going to bake it for about 30 to 40 minutes at a 400-degree oven. And you can turn it one time in the middle of it. And we're going to get started on the sweet potatoes.
Okay.
So you'll need about 6 large sweet potatoes.
Okay.
And you just want to peel and quarter them.
They are a solid potato, aren't they?
Yes. Absolutely.
And folks, if you're wondering when you're at the supermarket which ones to buy, the yellower ones or the orangier ones, get the orangier ones because they're healthier for you.
Okay. That's something I always wondered. I never
Okay,
knew.
Shannon, what do we do next?
Okay, then we're going to add them. I have some going already, but we're going to add them into a pot, a heavy pot, and we're going to cover it just with to the top with water. And we're going to reduce the heat then from a boil to a simmer.
All right.
And we're going to cover it back up and let it simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes until they're just tender. Now after they come out, you want to drain them really well to get all the liquid out, and then we're going to add them to the food processor. And I have some already finished, so we'll get those out.
Great. Slide that.
Okay.
Here we go.
Thanks. I'm going to add these in the food processor. Actually, I think it would be better if I just add them in like this.
So we're going to puree these.
Puree them, and with a couple magic ingredients.
Okay, I like magic
Already
ingredients.
we're going to have a beautiful color to this.
Yes,
Yes.
fabulous color.
Yeah.
So start with that.
All right.
And then to this, actually we're going to
gonna
add
get
a couple things first.
Okay.
We're going to add a half a cup of milk, and you can use fat-free or whole milk. I've done it with fat-free, and it still just as creamy and delicious.
Okay.
We're going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper and 1 teaspoon of salt. And then the magic happens when we add 2 teaspoons of minced chipotle peppers and adobo sauce.
And you get those in a can at the supermarket.
And I always wear gloves when I'm mincing them because they do have the seeds, and my fingers start to tingle if I don't.
Now,
Put that on.
you could try to remember all that, or you can get the
You know,
book.
I think it's on
it
actually
on? Oh, I'm
backwards.
sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. Let's take this off.
There we go.
And put this down.
There you go.
Okay.
There we go.
And we're just going to puree this.
Don't you just love food processors?
Yes.
They make everything. This is like the change in your office, going from a typewriter to a computer, and going in your kitchen from the chopping board to the food processor. It is magic.
Yeah, I put a lot of miles on this one.
I'm on my 3rd one.
This is my 2nd.
You wore two out, huh?
Yes.
Just help it
Okay.
along a little bit. Let's give it another 30-second pulse.
Yeah, sweet potatoes are a little harder to put this in rather than some of the softer things that we've mixed in here.
Yeah, there are some things you wouldn't puree this long in there or they would turn to glue, like regular
They would.
potatoes.
So we'll
Yes.
pretend that this is nice and creamy, and we'll transfer it
pretty
to
close.
a serving bowl.
Okay. Your way.
Okay, and what's next?
Well, next we're going to remove the apples from the oven,
Okay.
and then we're going to blend those.
Thank you, George. And here are our apples.
So we're just going to put those into a blender with any juice that remains. Whoops.
There we go.
Look at all this yumminess on the bottom of the
Oh,
pan.
look at that. And don't leave any of it in the bottom of the pan either.
Here we go,
That is
Shannon.
really good
Okay.
stuff.
And I will just
Sure,
grab
you can
this.
scoop.
Thank you.
Make sure you get all that yummy stuff
Oh,
off
yeah,
the bottom.
absolutely. Okay, so then we're just going to puree this.
Okay.
Now, why do you do the apples in the blender versus the food processor?
Only because I don't have 2 food processors.
Ah,
You could clean
okay.
out your bowl. If you just want to rinse out the bowl with the sweet potatoes, you could do it in the food processor too. So we'll just turn that on. Usually it has a little bit more juice. If we want to add a little bit of water, like a couple tablespoons of water, that would probably facilitate it.
If we had one.
We're not going to do that. You're going to have the water in it to give it a little juice, but this is
Okay, so we'll pretend it's nice and,
Sure.
and creamy and pureed.
So it should look like applesauce?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep, and then we would just spoon it over the top.
That looks pretty fine, actually. A little
Yeah, it
bit
looks
chunky,
pretty good.
but
And we would just
Oh,
spoon
yeah.
it over the top of the pureed sweet potatoes.
oh,
wow.
Just kind of imparts a real caramely, subtly spiced
You're
addition
making
to
us
it.
hungry.
Thank you, George.
So what happens next?
Well, then we eat it.
Okay,
It's
we're ready to eat it. I like this part. How would you serve this, Shannon?
You know, I would just, the way I serve it is just family style, along
Sure.
with the other things for Thanksgiving, and help yourself to what you'd like.
This
and you
is
know, you just made
beautiful.
an interesting comment, Shannon. We talk about sweet potatoes, and it seems like you're always talking about Thanksgiving or Christmas. That would be good anytime.
Yes.
That would be good
Yes.
in the middle of summer.
I bet your kids love this, don't they?
Yeah, you know, when my son was little, actually, I'd make a version without the chipotle peppers when he was little, and he loved it. So.
Your son
Oh, wow,
has-
this is great.
Your son
You can
has
taste all
very
those
good
little
taste.
flavors.
That is-
Thank you.
Oh, that is good. That is really good.
All those great things.
And it's not a moderate taste. It's a very pronounced taste. And it is really, we'll just have one more little one here.
This
You know
is
me,
delicious. I
gotta
could
get
really
it.
see this with, you know, some roast pork
Absolutely.
Almost
or
anything.
pork on the grill.
Another great recipe for any time you want to use it, and put it with any holiday you want. 1-800-443-1999. And thank you, Shannon,
You're
very
welcome.
much. This was
Thank you.
delightful.
Thank you. It's
One more
great.
little bite wouldn't hurt. Oh, no.
This is good for us food, George.
It is also good. Good taste, too.